Back with another episode of Crafty Sourcer. Now, this week we have a super fun episode as we bring together three Aussie icons in the talent and podcasting space. Now, each of them bring a very unique perspective and style to the Aussie talent landscape. Let's see if you can figure out who it is. Let's go to our first guest.
Welcome to Rubber Band Live, the Australian talent acquisition, vodcast and podcast. I am Edan Haddock, your host and the creator of Rubber Band, the recruitment network for all. Let's go live.
Love it. And I guess we know who the other two are.
Figured it out?
Love
right?
it.
Oh, jeez. Righto.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tarpod. I'm Craig.
And I'm Lauren.
Yay!
You're good at what you do, mate.
That was amazing. What an amazing start to the show. So, Lauren, Edan, Craig, thank you so much for joining Crafty Sourcer. Now, I have to, before I start, say this, that I am super excited to have you all because when I started my podcasting journey, I took a leaf out of all of y'all's book, and y'all have been doing this for much longer than I have. So I'm so happy to have you all as part of the Crafty Sourcer today. So, yay. So let's get into it. Let's get crafty. I'm sure everybody knows y'all, but before we get into our little chat, quick intro for everybody else who's listening in Australia and globally as well. Laura.
Yeah, quick intro. Well, where do I start with me, I suppose? I'm wearing so many bloody hats at the moment, and, I don't swear on my podcast. And is bloody a swear? There we go. I'm allowed to swear on yours. Really, I think defining moments in terms of podcasting, I suppose I now am leading a talent acquisition team with REA Group. At the time, I was kind of in between jobs. So I kind of, threw myself into the Rubber Band community. Those who aren't aware of that, it's an online community hosted on Facebook. We've got about 1,500 people in there. We just help each other share content with each other, give each other advice, and also mental health support. But because I was in between roles, I started doing webinars. And I remember actually reaching out to Craig saying, I'm recording these webinars, but I'm not doing anything with them. How would you feel if I started uploading the audio to a podcast? And he's like, I can't believe you're not doing it already. I'm kind of, right? So I'm kind of an accidental podcaster. I've got no equipment. It's really recording chats that I'm having with mates more than anything, right? And, that I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing, I'm a fan of Tarpod. I listen to Tarpod every week, right? I'm a fan of Crafty Sourcer. I'm a fan of Recruiter. There's many out there that I love listening to. And, I just wanted it to be different and casual and just have that community feel of Rubber Band where it's just people having a chat. I want the audience just to feel like they're kind of eavesdropping in on a coffee conversation, right? And it's very amateurish.
It's exactly that, though, because I know when I was on, we just had a chat and coffee. It was just like you and I were catching up as we usually do.
Yeah. And, I'm not, it's not a podcast around thought leadership. You guys do that incredibly well. This is really just what's going on in your world, how you're doing. Tell me about your career. Tell me about your life. And hey, there we go.
It's funny, Eden, because I think that the best podcasts are ones where they're not contrived or pushed or you sit there and you plan it from start to finish in every bit because you're trying to get the essence of the person that you're talking to and also get your own personality over as well. And Lauren, I'll let you tell the story about
I
how
agree, when
we
it's
started.
So structured, I find them boring as F. I really do. I'm like, what the fuck? I miss all of that, seriously, because I've just tuned out. But yeah, well, how we got going was 2019, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've constantly got them going on in the background at home.
Because she's got no friends to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, right, Craig. You're my only friend. That's it. I'm fucked. I'm constantly listening. I'm a bit of a history buff, and I've constantly got history podcasts going on in the background. And my grandfather got me into that when I was a young girl, and I really enjoy it. And I was listening to a lot of TA podcasts and stuff internationally, and there was nothing, absolutely nothing in our market in Australia. And I'd been wanting to start one, but I didn't really know how to do it. In my mind, I was thinking it would work really well if there was 2 people to bounce off. And I didn't realise till after we started, there was no women doing TA podcasting globally. None. Couldn't find any.
Rare, actually. It is.
Yep, there was none.
Yeah,
It was all men. So Craig and I met at a RL 100 event. We sat opposite each other, and I remember that day clearly because the group of people there, we were just having the best laugh ever. And I met Craig, and it was like my long lost brother. We just got on like brother and sister immediately. We called up a week later, and Craig was trying to sell me Rextra services, and basically told him to fuck off. I said, "I've got an idea. I want to do a podcast, and I think it would work really, really well. 2 of us, man and woman, bouncing off each other around TA. There is no content in Australia at all, and so we planned it, picked a day." Bought some very basic equipment, like just little pin-on mics that we plugged into the phone and downloaded an app type stuff, and that's history.
Yeah,
even
it
more
is
advanced than me in terms of.
Well, now, and the funny thing was, 8 weeks into the podcast, and we were still finding our feet. Like, we're researching like what's the best formula. Do you split the episodes, which we did over the first 3 interviews. We split them into 2 weeks. 2 weeks for the episode. You come back for the next one.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't gel too well. People want to listen to the whole thing, and that. So then we changed it. Now we were 8 weeks in, and we had Smart Recruiters actually approached us to sponsor the podcast.
Amazing.
And we're like, shit, better get an ABN. So I quickly did that, and our sponsorship money, we didn't know what to charge, so we didn't charge very much at all. And with that money, we bought our soundboard, our proper mics, the proper headphones that we have set up in the office in our studio. We bought the right equipment to get it done, and we hired a voiceover artist as well on Fiverr, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah,
but you do things. You do very shoestrap. It's very or bootstrap. Sorry, it's very doing things on a budget when you start. So even though we thought, well, we'll invest in some really good AV, but other things like we used Fiverr for so many things, for logos, for voiceovers, for some music, and all those sorts of things, and that was fantastic. I really loved the using those sort of platforms and people.
Yeah.
And now there's no looking back. Like, how many episodes, Lauren and Craig? Y'all are like
over 300 now.
episodes now?
Yeah, 305 this week. So
So we release 2 a week now. We have every Monday, the podcast goes out, as you all know. And every Wednesday, we have partnered with our friends over at Indeed, and they sponsor The Scoop, which is our news podcast, bringing just tidbits of news, funny stuff, serious stuff, talking about the economy and how it's going to impact talent, recruitment, any redundancies that are coming through, all of that type of stuff. We always find something funny in the news too. There's always some dickhead out there that's done something.
Yeah.
Something stupid and moronic that we can pop on there for a bit of a laugh. But it's been an amazing journey, and with meeting Craig, he's become my best friend.
Oh, sweet. Isn't that sweet?
Are you going to tell us what his OnlyFans account is called as well?
His OnlyFans account's all about his feet. That's his
I remember you talking about
I've got pretty feet. What can I say?
Well, if it makes you money, why not, right? So
there's a recent storyline on EastEnders, actually. There we go.
Yeah, Craig's feet. That's his money maker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's really interesting. Like I completely agree with the sentiment there from both Craig and Lauren in terms of. I mean, I didn't even have a job when I started doing it. Nor until recently, I haven't had any sponsorship for the podcast either. And you do just need to find your feet and do things in whatever works for you, right? I'm at 104 episodes now. I'm not even 12 months in.
Fantastic.
And it's just really pulling my mates together for a chat more than anything. I don't edit. I just really download. I use StreamYard is really great. I use StreamYard for webinars and things like that, and that works really well to record for me. And
I
then
think if you had said to me when we started this that last year we averaged 6,400 plus downloads, full downloads per week.
That's
if you
amazing.
told me that many people are going to tune in and listen to us talk, I would have gone, yeah,
Yep.
you're full of it.
But we've both
Yeah.
got big families, right? So they.
I don't have stats anything like that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
and yeah, that's fine. Like, I mean, it's a podcast for our, for the rubber
Yeah.
band community, and that's
Yeah.
cool. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think that's incredible. that
It definitely
Isn't it?
is. Yeah.
I pinch myself daily, Eden, because I just cannot believe that it's grown so much. And I can't believe the amount of invitations we get to events. People are now paying us to speak and host their events.
I think there are perks to it that you don't realise they're going to come across, don't there? When you
Absolutely.
you know that yourselves when you start it. Yeah, it's great.
Well, that's it. You're putting, and this is this is one of my big passions, putting Australia on the world stage, right?
Yes.
And I don't. My community is all local. I don't have an international audience aside from, for some reason, Thailand, where it was.
Did you do a Ladyboy episode once? Or?
I don't even have any friends in Thailand. I've got friends all over the world where it doesn't do well, and for some reason, it's connecting with
fantastic.
We've got a huge Canadian listenership.
Yeah, right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
They'll listen to anything.
Yeah, but the Canadians, you got it. Their employment law and that sort of thing is very similar to ours, even though they're still heavily influenced by America. They're being a Commonwealth country. It's very similar with the social services and healthcare and things like that with Australia. So it resonates well with them. And we've partnered with Surgeon Shelley over at Talent Flex in Canada a bit, actually, and we've got to do that again soon this year.
Yeah.
And talking to Shelley when we finally got to meet in real life in London, I didn't know this. When she told me, she said, we actually modelled our podcast off yours.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
There's a model for failure.
Yeah.
Well,
that's when you know you're doing the right thing. Yeah.
That was amazing because she's probably one of the only other women I know, her and Julie Sowash, and Julie's very heavy in the D&I space. But yeah, it's other than D&I, you don't get a lot of TA women out there.
No, and that's exactly one of the reasons why I started Crafty Sourcer, because my viewership besides Australia is predominantly in Europe.
Yeah,
because the sourcing community is big in other regions besides Australia. So it's interesting to see the demographics, and I also think it depends on the topics and what resonates with the audience as well, which is what my next question around that is also obviously. Lauren, Craig, you all run two segments, which is obviously Tarpod and The Scoop, and Eden, yours is Recruiter Chinwag, and then recently you've launched Real Recruiters.
Yes. On the tools, Real Recruiters.
Yes, on the tools, that's it.
Yeah, I think, in terms of, trends that and lessons that I've learned, when I tried to theme episodes, I wasn't getting traction, right? I wasn't getting listeners. So if I... And I think it's because you guys do that so well, Tarpod, right? And look, that's cool. Like, and that's awesome. I think for me, it was, finding my feet and understanding what people wanted to hear from me, and it was all around those conversations. And I had been talking to Paige Up about, us doing, and on the tools, Real Recruiters is a mini series. It's not a permanent thing. It's a mini series that will sit within the Rubber Band podcast. But firstly, Recruitment Chinwag, that's what it's become. Rubber Band, it's catching up, like I said. And I've caught up with both you and Lauren for a Chinwag, which is awesome. Craig, you're next. There we go. And yeah, like on the tools, really, I'd been chatting with Paige Up about us potentially doing something, and then it coincided with me going back into the workforce and back into a senior leadership role after being out of the workforce, and I knew I needed to reconnect with peers in the industry and know what's going on, because I've been 12 months away from the tools. And then it kind of thought, well, if I'm going to start having those conversations, why not just record them? And then
absolutely,
Paige Up are like, yeah, that's cool, we're on board for that. So they've supported me to be able to do that, which is great.
Amazing. And what's sorry about that, what sort of strategies, Eden, Lauren, Craig, you'll sort of, obviously one of the issues that I sometimes find doing my own podcast is, trying to make sure that the topics are fresh, they're engaging, and while you have to try and find strategies, it's also a challenge at the same time to make sure that your podcast is as relevant as it is. Like, when AI came out, I remember I had to sort of get onto the AI bandwagon and make sure my topics were relevant. So how do you all sort of strategize y'all's podcast to pivot that way?
Okay, I think with that one, and Craig, back me up on this one, or tell me I'm an idiot. You have to pivot. You've got to be very agile, because if something happens, the podcast we've got scheduled for that Monday, it might not be going out to the following because something's going to happen. We're going to get someone in, we're interviewing them now, and it is a relevant, immediate topic. So we do have to be able to do that. And I think the other thing that I find key to get your listenership and make sure that you're connecting with your audience is you've got to be regular and on a schedule, like every Monday morning. Every Monday morning. Don't have it all over the place. Don't do them fortnightly. Don't random. Your listeners expect it at the same time every week.
Yeah. I think it's important that you treat your audience, however you've built it, with respect. So it's, that from our perspective, we try to make it easy to consume, easy to find, and also make sure we're playing to the lowest common denominator, which is usually me, to make sure that that what you're talking about is coming across in simple language, so that and also, like Lauren said, and I know Eden will back this up, and I think the first person to ever discuss this with us was Hung Lee, where he said that the scheduling or the regularity is key to being respectful to your audience once you've built it. Because he said told us a story once how he went on holiday and he was in a different time zone, but everything was ready to go at the right time. But because of the time zone, it didn't. And he started getting like welfare check calls. What's happened? Where's all these people are calling him. So it's really important that once people have invested time with you as a listener, is that you have the respect to treat them the same way, that, okay, we're going to provide you with the content that's relevant to you. But also, further to your point, Denise, getting content that's relevant and easy to consume is the single hardest thing that I find. And we probably do it in three ways. We look at things, like Lauren said, that are very topical, so we have to pivot on there. And we also look for success stories within the industry. And then thirdly, and this is probably more recently, over maybe the last year or so, we've really deep dived into DE&I a lot more, because there are stories within talent that aren't being told in that area. And the more you talk to people in our industry, the more interest there is, whether they've got the resource in their own workplace or the capability to bring it in. They all want to know how best to deal with DE&I challenges within their organisation.
And there's so many different challenges out there. Like, there's one podcast we got coming out in April, and I'm really looking forward to this. And we're talking about menopause, and we're having a very open, frank conversation, because 50% of the population go through this, but it's not talked about. And like Craig said on the Scoop last week, that, like, because I've made him research. Look at this. Look what's going on. Your wife is going to go through this. Everyone has a woman in their life, whether it be their mother, their partner, a friend, a sister, someone who is going to go through this, and it is fucking hard.
It is.
So
we
try and bring topics that people don't talk about.
Love it. Yeah,
I'm a bit opposite, Denise. In all honesty, like I like I said, I learned early on that topics was a little bit of a challenge for me. So mine's really it's the people, and in order to make it fresh and engaging and relevant, like, I mean, it's personal storytelling and personal reflection.
Of course.
It's walking back in someone's career.
And you do that so well, really. It's a credit to how you do that. You're bringing stories for local Australian people that unheralded in a lot of areas, but also every time you catch up and speak with someone, there's learnings from it.
And I think really to keep it, fresh is, I'm like all of you, right? Everyone that is on this podcast today is very passionate about diversity, equity, belonging, and inclusion. For me, it's just making sure that I'm giving people a voice that don't always have a voice, right? And making sure I don't release episodes of 5 men in a row, or 5 white people in a row, right? And I think that's where I get so much enjoyment from it. I mean, aside from the mini series, Rubber Band Live is still not sponsored. It is really something that I probably get the most value from, because I get a lot of inspiration from every single conversation, and I learn something just by listening to their personal reflections. And with the mini series, it's very similar, because I'm back in a leadership role. I don't know really what went on the tools over the last 12 months. So it's actually finding out, what are you focusing on for 2024? And I've already changed my strategy a couple of times based on those conversations, or making sure that I'm getting deep into areas that I
the data coming out at the moment is very interesting. It's not what the candidates are wanting and what some of the companies think they want is very different.
Yeah.
I think you make a very important point there, Eden, that, particularly in the mini series, the On the Tools Real Recruiters, you're part of the audience and you're learning. And I think it's really important. And I often say this to Lauren, that the day that we're the smartest person in the room is the day that we should give this shit up, because
we are not that.
We want to be learning as well.
Yeah.
So every time we have a discussion with someone, you want to walk away from it and go, oh, hang on, I got something out of that. So that means definitely whoever took the time out to listen will also have been able to take something away as well.
Well, that's the Aussie way, right? We don't like to be preached at. Those kind of podcasts would not work here.
Well, we aren't the smartest in the room. We provide a platform for the smartest in the room, because quite often people say, oh, you guys are experts. No, we're not. I'm just opinionated.
As all recruiters are, as all candidates are.
We provide that platform, and I'm constantly learning, and people are picking me up on my mistakes and things like that all the time.
And the thing is, look, we're obviously not perfect. And like, I'm taking out a new segment and I've got a new co-host joining me as well. And it's all around TA tools and technology. So it could be like a Chrome extension. So really anything that TA can benefit from, we're going to be demoing those things out there. And it sort of came out from feedback around, hey, the podcast is good, but we want to hear more about tools, because when you put an AI lens, there's every day there's a new tool technology that's coming up. And within the TA sphere, right, we can't keep abreast of what's happening. So we're like, come on, we'll do the hard work for y'all. You can still demo these things, but we'll talk about some of the things TA should be looking at now and implemented now. So I think we are all in a good spot. And I think where our podcast is sort of headed and what it's doing, we're all in a very sort of niche area of what we are bringing into the community. I mean, even with what you're doing with what it's recruiters on tools, the leaders on tools, I think that's fantastic. We're all showing a spotlight on different areas within the community that needs to. And even Lauren, I think what you all are doing is talking about taboo topics that people don't want to talk about or, be faced with. Menopause, menstruation, all that stuff, we need to be talking about.
And similar to what you're saying too, Denise, like, I don't know how many conversations I've been in where, and you might even see it might be on Rubber Band on the chats, or it might be somewhere else, on the Slack one where people might say, oh, I need some help with X, Y, and Z, and then someone will say, oh, this tool, and you've got to act like you know what the fuck they're talking about. Right? I've never heard of this tool. I've got no idea, because like you said, something's coming out new all the time. And if you're providing a platform where people who are dumb and sitting in the corner and scared to ask questions, and you're providing them with that sort of stuff, it's such a benefit to everyone in their day-to-day job.
It's really cool, because often what you're sharing, Denise, and hats off to you for this, it could be a tool where they don't have a huge marketing budget, so we're not going to see them at the recruitment fairs and expos and events and all of that sort of stuff. Or it could just be, like you're saying, a plugin that we didn't know exists that we can actually just use immediately and not have to have an MSA in place or a negotiation or procurement. And it can just help us. And I think that's wonderful. It's that sharing. There is so much innovation going on, not just in Australia. I know I always harp on in Australia, but worldwide in terms of sourcing, right? And sourcing channels and sourcing tools and technology, and it's moving so quickly. There is no way we can keep on top of it if we don't have people like you sharing and helping. It's so wonderful.
True.
Now, we're almost towards the end, but I have one or two more questions. Then we're going to get on to the fun part, which is obviously it's a rapid
not fun
fire.
Enough for you so far.
Fun for you, maybe.
Now, we've obviously been talking about AI. AI is a buzzword. We bloody see it in our dreams. People write vows using AI and stuff. But it's not a trend anymore. It's here to stay. We all know that. So y'all have had various guests, some phenomenal guests, throughout the years. Now, let's talk about some of the past trends that was spoken about that didn't probably eventuate, but you sort of see it gaining a bit more prominence or evolving in 2024. So, Craig, let's start with you.
All right.
What do you see?
I think, don't forget the last 3 or 4 years have been unpredictable, different in anything we could have thought. So when some of these trends sort of first poked their heads up, sometimes they were shut down pretty early because of, change. So if we look at, particularly when COVID first came, we were talking about making a way or trying to show and demonstrate value in the talent function to C-suite, right?
Yeah.
Then we went through this rapid growth of jobs and non-stop recruitment. So that sort of got put to the side because everyone was caught in the day-to-day, fill roles. And then over the last probably 6 to 12 months, when the heat's come out of the economy a bit, certain sectors are suffering. I'm seeing a push again. How do we demonstrate our value as a function to C-suite and beyond other parts of the business? Some people talk about the cohort of the hiring manager and some people talk about the cohort of the C-suite, but to demonstrate value is a key problem that we've had over a long period of time. We've tried to address it. It's gone away and now it's come back, and we do need to do that because if you couple in AI, there are functions or there are businesses at the moment who are going, where do we direct our spend? Do we direct it in investing in our talent function from a people perspective or the tech around it, which may be AI? So we've got to demonstrate our value. And that's what I see as the big challenge, but also a trend that we're going to have over the next 12 months.
Yeah. Awesome.
Agreed. I think, and I am going to be a little bit controversial just because I love to, because I can be controversial on your podcast, Denise, and you'll forgive me. I think what we're seeing in 2024, we have spent more than 5 years talking about candidate experience and saying how crap it is, and we need to, and wonderful initiatives like Steve, circle back, all of this sort of stuff for us to commit to providing a great experience. I actually think we're rebelling at the moment. I'm feeling people are rebelling against, and there's a number of reasons for this, but advertising roles, traditional job boards, traditional application processes. That's one trend that I think is going to evolve, and you will, I'm not allowed to say too much, but you're going to see something pretty big from my side on that coming soon. Hey, watch this space. I'll come on Tarpod and tell you about it before we release it. But the other trend that I'm seeing, and we've always wanted it, Craig's right, we've always wanted to have this influence and this seat at the table. Several of the people I've been speaking with, the ones that I've been recording and the ones that I've just been bumping into and having a chat to, we really are seeing talent acquisition functions moving to talent management. We're getting involved in, and my team have just finished being in mid-year performance review conversations with the leadership of, REA right at the top of the business, workforce planning and succession. So it is no longer solely a business process. It is now, I think talent professionals know that they need to diversify. And the good talent leaders are getting their teams closer and closer, if it's centre of excellence, to the business partners to be able to be more strategic in terms of workforce planning, in terms of performance and succession, in terms of talent pipelining, both internally and externally. There's a huge focus on mobility this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Edan, do you think that's happening because more TA functions and TA teams are becoming more lean than what they were before?
I don't think it's that, in all honesty. I think you've got two cohorts. You've got the idiots that get rid of their talent acquisition team when there's no hiring happening, right?
Yeah.
But I think us, as not just talent acquisition leaders, but as talent acquisition professionals, are really rebelling against that. And when we are in employment, we're saying we need a seat at the table.
Yeah.
We need to partner closer with the business because there is so much more that we can do.
Yeah.
I think we're just fed up with all that. We really are. 100%. And we can either just sit back and let it keep happening, or we can drive this forward. And I'm feeling that people are going, nuts, stuff that. I need to future-proof my team and I need to future-proof my function, and this is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with you. Internal mobility is a massive one on the list, and it's being managed very, very well by TA. And my view on this is there was such low unemployment. This is why we've got to value the people you've got on board and retention and look at those career paths for them, because there's just not a pool of candidates out there. Last year, we saw the biggest growth in our population of just over 3% since World War II. And we are still running at a candidate short market across multiple sectors here. So huge where we just can't get the right people and we're running short. And you're also looking that by 2030, the biggest immigrants into our country is going to come from India. That is a huge resource area growing massively at the moment. So you're going to see, I think that retention, mobility is definitely on the agenda here. The other one that I think we're going to really see kick in too is gender pay equality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it is the naming and shaming with Regina numbers coming out, and it's going to be huge. And I've been asking this question of economists, of people in the know, in like at Indeed and other people who have got their finger on the pulse on most of this stuff, and nobody can come up with any predictive data at this point in time on how this is going to impact brand, how it's going to impact your recruitment. Are people actually talking to their recruitment teams before these data comes out?
Yeah.
It's really going to highlight how many companies talk the talk but don't walk the walk. And how are we as TA professionals going to sell a company that has got a massive or even slight gender pay gap? Why have you got a gender pay gap? Why are you not paying your women this? Why would I want to work for you?
Yeah.
I think what we're going to say, we need to see the program. I mean, we've done incredibly well with that. So our strategy around that is to celebrate. But we're not perfect, right? Like our gap is shrinking. It's getting better year on year, but there is still a gap. It is a small gap and very small compared to industry. But what I think we're then going to find is other organisations, to your point, Lauren, where that is huge and where they're not walking the walk when they actually have been talking the talk. We're actually going to see a lot of conservatism around EVP. Because there is a PR thing here from a customer perspective as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to try and keep that quiet. Then you're going to see organisations like us celebrating how well we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a real, I think we'll see brand shift in the market. You've got...
Absolutely.
From a candidate perspective, people really attracted to certain brands. If they're not hitting the mark, we might see other organisations that could be in different industries that we don't feel are progressive. We could see Fin Services doing really well. We don't know until it's released in a few days, right?
Yeah.
But we could see, manufacturing or these industries that we didn't realise were doing really great work in this space. And that's probably going to change our perception of the kind of industries we want to work in.
Yeah, I do think you're completely right there. We're going to, it's a line in the sand moment. And it is going to affect people's employer brand, depending on where they sit here. And to Lauren's point, 50%, let's say 50% of the population are female. That's going to be the first. That's going to be the first point. Then there's going to be supporters, allies, and then there's still going to then the rest will end up being worst boys clubs who stay in those companies and aren't making any change. It's going to be really, really, really interesting. And the media will have a field day with it. Don't make no bones on it. They will be reporting this to and particularly trying to call out the larger the brand, the better they'll want to go after.
Oh, absolutely. The whole tall poppy syndrome is going to be flying in full effect on this one. And I'm actually looking forward to it because
just a few more days.
Well,
interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know. I don't know about the media side of things. I don't know whether the media, let's say the big banks don't do very well. Will the media pick up and pounce on that? I don't know, right?
I think you're going to see more in the professional services, in professional careers, that we're going to see some big gaps, like finance, like professional services even, where they're not bound by awards, where you're going into negotiate a salary that's well and truly above what the government awards are saying. This is where we're going to see some gaps. And I think you're right. I think any of these bro dude companies that are going to be in some trouble. And they're not going to be appealing. They're not going to be appealing. And if you're not going to address the situation by showing me the money, people are going to walk. And we're already in a candidate type market. We're lacking in resources. Can you afford to have somebody walk out on you because you're not going to give them a pay rise, but then the next person that comes along is going to get that pay rise? So who do you value?
Yeah, and they're also saying contingency workforce is going to become a thing more. So, all right.
Gigs. Agreed.
All right.
Agreed.
That was a really good conversation, by the way, and I think we can keep going on. But just keeping time in mind, let's move over to our rapid fire round. So there's 3 questions for each of y'all. We're going to start with Lauren first.
Oh, far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren.
Thanks,
Lau-
Denise.
All right. Lauren, if you could invent a new holiday, what would you celebrate?
A new
Oh,
holiday.
jeez.
Oh, other than International Lauren's Day, I would take International Women's Day and I would make it a whole entire week. I would say let's celebrate it. One day is not enough. So much to talk about when you look at the history of women in the workforce.
Yeah.
And we've only had the right to vote for just over 100 years now. And really, we're not allowed in the workforce until World War I happened. There's so much work to be done there, and highlighting it more and more is the only way to bring true equality.
Yeah. And you'd call it Lauren's Women's Day or something?
Yeah, well, I always think my birthday should be a public holiday.
It goes for 3 months.
For the whole quarter. All right. Eden, we're going to ask you. I think when I was writing this question, I had to put this one out to you. What song would you play every time you entered a room?
Oh, girls just want to have fun. Cyndi Lauper.
Yay!
You don't even have to think about it.
Oh, I can just see you walking with a nice, shiny, blingy blazer on there. Yeah.
It's his kicks.
Craig, now this one, don't hate me for it,
Oh, God.
but I don't know why I thought of you. You wake up as the opposite sex. What's the first thing you do?
No.
Am I allowed to? I'd feel my boobs.
I can do that anyway.
If I woke up as a
Right.
man, I'd want to pee. That's the first thing
Yeah,
I'd want to do.
standing up too.
Yeah.
How much
yeah.
fun! We get it so much easier, don't we, Eden?
Oh
yeah.
my God.
I couldn't wait to see Craig get his first period.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. Lauren, you're next. What's something you're really bad at, but you love doing anyway?
Singing.
Oh, okay.
I can
Then we have to-
I can attest to that.
Yep.
Okay.
I love singing. I think I'm Beyonce. I'm a very big Mary J. Blige fan. So
Ooh, she's good.
I'm Mary J. I'm reincarnated and I cannot hold a tune to save my life.
Well, we know we're not doing karaoke with you then, Lauren.
Oh, I fucking hate karaoke. Hate it with a passion.
Eden, what would your warning label say if you came with one?
My warning label?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my warning label.
Don't water after midnight.
I'm actually going to say do not touch because I'm one of those people that I've got a fear of being touched, not in a sexual way, just
Not the doll where he touched you.
Handle with
I
care.
couldn't do massages or anything like that.
Oh.
No, I don't like no. So yeah, I'm a do not touch. That could also be used as a do not. I'm invincible. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so that means no massage vouchers for your birthday.
No,
That's it.
thanks.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Jason can have them. There we go.
Awesome. Craig, the last one for you. If you were a superhero,
Yeah.
what would your catchphrase be?
Catchphrase for a superhero:
He's tough, man.
tiny but tough.
We're still talking about the superhero, right?
Oh,
Oh
gee.
my God. Tiny but tough. Can you put that on your LinkedIn headline?
I will actually. I might put it in my bio.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Lauren and Eden, actually, it's the same question
Ooh.
that I have for y'all that I asked Craig, that if you woke up as the opposite sex, what's the first thing you'd do? So, Lauren, you go first.
Oh, yell at my wife to go and get me a cuppa.
Oh, my God.
Yep. And not ever pack the dishwasher.
I would say for me, I'd find myself a very hot, very masculine tradie. And
Okay.
start dating that
Okay.
morning.
Would you like them to work on something specific, like?
Oh no.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just the gay boy. We like our straight men. We like
He
to
just wants a
admire.
handy man.
Okay, all right.
Exactly.
Got it. Who can fix things around the house? Yeah.
Exactly. And more.
Hey, I thought you didn't like being touched. So
Yeah, well, make an exception.
He's backtracking on that one.
awesome. Thanks so much for that. All right. Can we very quickly talk about any upcoming events? I know the ITAs are this year. Woohoo! Table 12 shout out. Anything y'all want to share? Where it is? Where can people find the information? Kick it off, Craig, Lauren, and then Eden. Anything from your end too?
Okay, so for any information on the ITAs, people can go to internaltalentawards.com. It's on the 5th of September in sunny Melbourne this year. And tickets will be going on sale in next month. And in April, early April, nominations will open. So we're all guns blazing and very much looking forward to being back at the Plaza
dressed
Ballroom.
shopping and dieting.
Yeah. So that's us. And that will fill our year in terms of organising or being involved with an event, won't it, Lauren?
Yeah, we attended Indeed Future Works. We've got Aperture up front coming up. We'll most likely be at Hiring Success again with Smart Recruiters. So we do it, and all of the meetups, we try to attend most of those. So we often will go to everyone's events and support them.
Yeah, awesome. Eden, anything from your side? Is there a panel van happening? What's happening on your
Look,
side?
there is Bounce 4. There is. Like, I'm only doing one this year because I've got a job. But look, I am having another free event, free to attend online.
Brilliant.
It's really around celebrating Australian innovation. That is on Wednesday, the 8th of May. You can find the details in Rubber Band. So join Rubber Band on Facebook or go rubberband.com.au. You won't find the event because I haven't got around to putting it up yet because it's a little while away, but it's in May.
Well, when you've got that sorted, let us know. We'll get it on the scoop for you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
What about you, Denise?
You can register. That's up. It's in Rubber Band.
It is? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's a sourcing summit happening in Sydney, April. So Filter Singh still needs to release the information. It's not fully public just yet. But whoever is listening, come and support. There's amazing Australian speakers like Jess Gibson-Jones, probably some international speakers coming as well. I'm possibly emceeing the event.
Woohoo.
Don't know just yet.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that might be happening. So come and support your local APAC speakers, please. So, but other than that, Eden, Lauren, and Craig, thank you so much for coming on the show and loved everything, every second of your answers, especially the ones where y'all were the opposite sex. So, yeah.
But thanks so much for inviting us on too, because I think it's rare that we get asked to do something like this, and it's so enjoyable because we don't have to worry about asking questions. We can just be off the cuff. So thank you, really appreciate it.
You're welcome, everyone, and thank you everyone for tuning in. And stay crafty. Take care.
Congratulations, Denise.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Well done.